Let's start with a new breaking at this hour. Fresh Israeli strikes are being reported in Iran. The country's state news agency has said that Israeli strikes attacked several parts of northwest Iran. The strikes have reportedly targeted two locations in the southwestern part of Tabriz city, the capital of the East Azerbaijan province. Iranian officials say air defense systems were activated to counter the attack. No reports on damage or loss of life so far. A short while back, Israeli Defense Forces had posted an update on latest strikes which Israel carried out in Kermanshah, Hamedan and Tehran. IDF says 20 IAF jets carried out the strikes. Once again, this is breaking coming in from Iran, and fresh Israeli strikes are being reported in Iran. The country's state news agency has said that Israeli strikes attacked several parts of northwest Iran. The strikes have reportedly targeted two locations in the southwestern part of Tabriz, which is the capital of the East Azerbaijan province. Iranian officials say air defense systems were activated to counter the attack. No reports of damage or loss of life have been reported so far. And a short while back, Israeli Defense Forces had posted an update on the latest strikes, which Israel carried out in Kermanshah, Hamedan and Tehran. IDF says 20 IAF jets carried out the strikes. Mr. Edward P. Joseph is a lecturer at the Johns Hopkins University School of Advanced International Studies and foreign policy analyst. He is now joining us live from Montenegro. Mr. Joseph, good to see you and thank you very much for joining us at this hour. Iran told the United Nations that U.S. strikes must be condemned. Iranians are urging strong response after U.S. strikes. But let's talk about the Human Rights Agency, because the focus has turned on them. How effective are some of the resolutions passed at the United Nations Security Council?
Eric, good to be with you. And of course, the resolutions that are passed have depends on their effectiveness. We know, for example, that on June 12th, the day before the Israeli operation started, which was Friday the 13th of June, the day prior, the IAEA, that's the UN agency that is the nuclear watchdog, that's the one that conducts all these inspections and is meant to enforce and check on whether countries adhere to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, to those obligations. On June 12th, they passed a resolution. The IAEA passed this resolution declaring that Iran is not complying with its obligations regarding nuclear non-proliferation. And according to the UN official UN news report, this development follows serious warnings from the head of the IAEA, that's Mr. Grossi, that inspectors have been unable to determine whether Iran's nuclear program was exclusively peaceful. So you see, Eric, your question is a good one. Do resolutions have their impact? Well, clearly, this one raised the concerns of the IAEA about the extent and the intent of the Iran nuclear program with respect to human rights. Again, they're context specific, and in some cases they do have impact, and in other cases we see that they do not. Please.
Mr. Joseph, Iranians are calling America bluff. They say, you came, you did what you did, and then you left. But now Iran's Atomic Energy Agency says nuclear sites are quickly being rebuilt. What do you make of that development from Iran?
I think, Eric, that we have to ascribe that to, those are words that are for domestic consumption. Of course, there's no precise battle damage assessment of the extent of the damage to those three nuclear facilities that the U.S. hit, and including Fordo, the one that's deeply buried in the mountain, this nuclear enrichment facility, which the IAEA inspectors have said had enrichment up into the 80% range. And again, 90% is what's commonly thought needed for a nuclear weapon. So the full battle damage assessment is not available, but it appears that these facilities have been severely damaged. And so, Eric, I would say that this is really for domestic consumption. The government, the regime in Iran is badly humiliated by this series of strikes, the way that Israel has been able to operate with impunity here since Friday the 13th of June, and has intelligence sources apparently across Iran's security agencies. And again, these are Iranians who are providing this information to Israel, allowing it to hit top military and officials connected with the nuclear program. So I take this as the government trying to save its face, and by insisting, oh, look, we're going to continue to enrich. And it seems unlikely that their immediate capacity to do that is uncertain, although they may have hidden sites that are simply not known. Please.
Mr. Joseph, there's a concern of an escalation in the region, but that aside, there's also another concern of Iran's retaliation as to what the United States did to their 3 nuclear facilities in Iran. What do you think or predict Iran is going to do? And with that in mind, talk to us about the Strait of Hormuz, because that's another critical point, very quickly.
And yes, and you're right to point to the Strait of Hormuz, and Iran is in a difficult position, including there. And let's start with the Strait of Hormuz. So among the options that Iran has is to close, to use naval vessels and other military assets to close that vital pathway through which so much of oil goes through. But what is the problem for Iran? China depends on that very strait for some 40% of its vital oil resources, of its vital oil imports. And China is a backer, a friend of Iran. They have a strategic partnership. So Iran inflicts damage on China if it takes that option. With respect to its other options, of course, you asked the question, what will Iran do? Yes, there are some 40,000 U.S. troops in the Middle East. We've already seen in the past, Iran has struck at these troops, and so have Iranian proxies, militias, for example, in Iraq, have struck at U.S. troops. So that is an option. But you heard President Trump, everyone heard him. He said the U.S. has a list of targets, and if Iran retaliates in that fashion, it could see penalties. Other options include they could leave the non-proliferation treaty and the non-proliferation regime altogether, but that would also have its own risks. They would be then an outcast, and there would be a completely united effort to stop Iran from moving forward. And finally, they could potentially move towards creating a nuclear weapon. And that is a nightmare scenario. Of course, that would come with, again, its own severe consequences for the regime in Tehran. Please.
Mr. Joseph, good to see you. We'll have to leave it there. Thank you for talking to us today.
You're welcome.